We begin with history in the making, and South Florida could be a driving force. About this time 1 week ago, unprecedented protests against the Cuban government erupted in dozens of cities across Cuba, and South Florida jumped in to seize the moment.
From rallies and marches that shut down some major highways to demands that the Biden administration take action, the call for change in Cuba became the big headline in local news here. And among those seizing the moment, Miami-Dade's 3 Republican members of Congress. They are all Cuban Americans. And taking the lead, Representative Maria Elvira Salazar. She represents Miami's 27th Congressional District. She was elected in 2020.
Congresswoman Salazar with us right now live via, is it Zoom or Skype? Good morning, Congresswoman.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Thank
Good
you
to
very
see
much
you
for
too.
having me.
You know, we want to start out really quick by a question. So many people are asking, so many people who may not have the attachment or attention to Cuba over the decades that we have. Besides from being a congresswoman, you are a Cuban American. You were a journalist covering Cuba a long time. What is different now?
What's different now is that for the first time in 62 years, the Cubans have the courage. You know, the Cubans have lost everything, their food, their families, their freedom, their liberties, and now they lost fear. And you have seen, you see the images, you're showing the footage. First time in 62 years, and they are saying no more, we want libertad.
And that footage, the footage that we're showing is internet and social media. Isn't that sort of the game changer?
Absolutely. And that is why we are demanding, we're asking, we're besieging, we're begging the Biden administration, this Democratic administration, to rise up to history and do what's right. Turn on the internet. And as you were saying, we conducted a press conference where Mike was present. It's very easy. The technology is out there. We need the political willingness.
Yeah.
And this message, Glenna, is for the Cuban Democrats and for every Democrat who's watching me. The Democratic Party has a historical moment to redress the fault of Bay of Pigs.
Yeah.
Now is the time to pay back. Turn on the internet. At least pronounce the President of the United States can go out to the world and say, we're with the Cuban people. The international community could be with us. We want to not only turn on in Guantanamo, but in the U.S. Embassy. It's there. You know it is there. Why don't they do it? And that's a very big question.
Congresswoman, let me.
Yes.
I was there at your office on Thursday, heard what you had to say, Governor DeSantis as well. And what we have learned subsequently is that reconnecting Cubans to the internet isn't as simple as simply throwing a switch. Now, there may be an answer with high altitude balloons which carry a satellite receiver. They tried those in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria, but they were expensive. They weren't always reliable. So what is your idea for reconnecting Cubans to the internet?
The idea is, like I said, if there is political willingness, Mike, you could do 3 things. Number one, the DOD did it in, DOD has the technology. We did it in Iran. We did it in Africa. They did it in Puerto Rico after the hurricane. So the DOD has the technology. We are not talking about Netflix and perfect. Make it easy for the people who are in Santiago to upload those videos. Number 3, the United States Embassy in the heart of El Malecón. You can also sort of rack up a little bit the Wi-Fi. And at least the Cubans, this is all the message that we're sending. You know, perception is reality. If they have the perception that they're being watched.
I beg your pardon. The Cuban government, the company is called Itasca, and it controls all cell phone and internet service in Cuba. And if you put a signal out there, our Channel 10 engineers say the Cuban government could simply stop it. So what's...
Oh, and it's happened with Radio Marti. But as you know, you can always surpass the Itasca Chinese surveillance technology with what I am saying to you. I spoke with Raven. I have a call out for the governor of South Dakota, where she has expressed to us that Raven can rack up and can just speed up the process. And that balloon, that aerial balloon capabilities can be in few weeks. So all I'm saying is that the Biden, and I'm going to go back to President Biden, and the message is for him. I spoke with Marco Rubio. I've spoken with all the Cuban American delegations in Congress. And all we want is a meeting at the White House. So then the president of the United States can go out there and say to the Cuban people, you are not alone. We're coming to help you. In which way? We're going to do everything we can. We're calling out on the international community. We're going to ask the United Nations to go into Cuba and study the systematic repression, just like they're inviting to come into the United States to study the systematic racism. So there are many things, Mike, that we can do, but the White House is doing very little.
Well,
so that's why I'm saying to the Cuban Democrats,
let me just
it's
drill
time
down.
for you to call. And then when they call the White House is not taking calls.
Yeah,
Could you
actually,
imagine the White House is not working?
To be fair, Congresswoman, this is absolutely, at least in South Florida, a bipartisan issue. And the president did come out and make a statement as well. Actually said that the White House was looking into exactly what you were talking about.
Very weak, Lena. Very weak.
I understand your perspective. Here's the question. So let's go back to the seismic change of the Obama administration that so many of the Cuban exile community here was dead set against, the little openings that the Obama administration tried to do. Totally reversed by the Trump administration, which largely has been kept in place by the now Biden administration. So we're seeing signs in South Florida, military intervention. We're hearing people from various factions wanting to do various things. Really, it's the Cuban people who need to decide. But what has not been done in the past 20 years that you think should be done?
Listen, you just said it. The Biden administration. That was the historical moment when the Castro brothers could have proven to the world that Obama was right. Obama gave everything in exchange of nothing. And what did they do? They spit on him. They didn't open up. They allowed every single American company to go in. They didn't sign those contracts. They, meaning the Castro brothers. We would have been able to have a Chinese model. The economy in Cuba would have been able to flourish. But the Castro brothers said no to Obama. So what's happening now? What is the difference? That the Cuban people are grabbing their destiny by the neck. And we need to help them. And all I'm saying is let's show to the world what the Cuban people are willing to do on the streets of Havana. That's it.
So what would you like to see, among other things, is the United States, President Biden, go to the UN, make a speech, or go to the OAS, make a speech calling for the repressive Cuban regime to back off, let the people go and be in the streets? What intervention do you want?
I think specifically is what we have been asking, not only myself, the representative of the city of Miami, but the Cuban American delegation in Congress, starting with Mayor Diaz-Balart and Marco Rubio. We want to go to the White House, talk to the president, and see his willingness to help the Cuban people. There are many avenues. There are many scenarios to do that. One of them could be to call out on the United Nations, call out on the Cuban regime, on Diaz-Canel. There are many ways. All I'm saying is that we need to see the willingness. There are many political channels, back channels and front channels that could be used and are not being used. But the one that I do believe that sends the message loud and clear to the Cuban people on the street, willing to risk their lives, is that we are with you and we're going to let you upload those videos showing how you're being beaten and tortured. There are 500 political prisoners right now that have disappeared. And the most important one, the guy who started the San Isidro movement, he is in Villa Maristas. You know what that is? That's the torture camp. Why does a musician have to be in a torture camp just because he composed a little song saying Patria or Vida? Come on.
Congresswoman, aside from just on the record as a lawmaker, would you support any sort of military intervention if it came to a question like that?
Listen, I'm going to support whatever the Biden administration is going to do. That question comes up all the time, but I think that there are a few steps before that because, this is uncharted territory. We do not know what's going to happen because we have never seen that people that are facing the most repressive revolution or a revolution that took repression to scientific levels. And still those people said, no more, no fear. What are we going to do? Leave them alone? So when you're telling me about intervention, I'm talking to you. There are many ways of intervening, and we haven't seen not even one. The first one: receive us. Let us go to the White House and talk to the president in which way he can help us.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying the Cuban Democrats need to call the White House. But when you call the White House, they are not taking calls.
All right, Congresswoman, we know you are on a busy schedule.
Yes.
Can you stick with us for
Thank
another
you.
6-7 minutes?
I have to go, but I will be there. I will be there whenever you need me next. Thank you. I have to really run.
Fair enough. You know we had to ask just in case, but safe travels
Thank
to
you.
you, and
Yeah.
appreciate you being with us.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And thank you for doing a good job.
Thank you.
Thanks.